This is Betsy Wiersma, and a wonderful thing happened during COVID. We had a COVID baby. A baby, a COVID baby. What are we talking about? Well, while all of us were hunkered down and being safe and being socially distanced, 62 brave women came together to share their story. 62 women said yes to writing a 1,000-word essay to uplift and inspire the world. 62 women brought the ingredients of their best self. Those ingredients were perseverance. Those ingredients were joy. Those ingredients were, gosh, it's such a yummy mix, it's hard to even capsulize them. But they all had one thing in common. Those women with those yummy ingredients mixed together stayed in the crock pot for 4 months and became a most yummy stew. Welcome to the Stew Authors. We are so happy to greet everyone as we are here today, and we are so happy to welcome the world to hear some of the stories behind the scene of the stew. So this was going to be a live event, but because of the COVID opportunity, we get to have a virtual event. And since everything works out in our favor, I think the good news about this is we can be now here live on Facebook and record this so people can hear and meet some of our amazing stew authors. So next up, we have Krista Igoe, and there you go. She is joining us to talk about her story in the stew. Krista, introduce yourself and tell everyone the topic of your story.
Hi, I'm Krista Igoe, and I'm bringing up the rear on the East Coast thing, being from Long Island. So my story is, the title of it is Raise Your Vibration with Reiki. And I am a Reiki Master, and that has been my occupation for the last 12 years. But I was asked to write something for this chapter in the book called Fly. And I started looking at how do I fit that in? And I decided to incorporate the healing elements of when we heal ourselves, of how to help us to fly. But this past week, I don't know if any of you noticed this adorable little story. I saw it on the Today Show this week, of the Christmas tree at Rockefeller Center with that adorable little owl. I forget what variety it was, but it's just this tiny little owl who was a stowaway on the big Christmas tree that came from way upstate in New York. And everyone kept asking, why didn't it fly away when the tree was cut down and wrapped up and brought in? Why didn't it fly away? And I was listening to all of that judgment. And I was listening to all of that, how many of us have either perceived judgment against us or have actually received judgment? Why didn't we do this? Why didn't we do that? Why didn't Eileen in domestic violence, why didn't she leave sooner? All these things that people say. And the point is, that poor little owl was probably paralyzed with fear. And when the time is right, we do things. But there's healing that has to take place before that can happen. And that healing can happen on many levels. My article talks about how, from the perspective of some of my clients, how changing that vibration in their body may help catapult them to make the changes that had to happen, usually with grace. But I looked at that little bird, and then the other day, when 2 weeks later, they nursed that little owl back to health and fed it water. Poor little thing was dehydrated and everything. And I watched the picture of the caretaker in the wilderness. They brought it upstate New York, and she's just holding it, ready for it to release. But when the camera focused on her hands, she was holding it like this. She was holding its feet, and all of a sudden she released. And with grace, that bird flew away. And I realized that is what I'm talking about here. It can be that simple, but it's the journey of getting there. One of the sentences I have in my article is, when we are whole and complete, we can achieve more and life flows with grace. And so the metaphor of that little beautiful, cute little owl is he was now whole and complete. He'd been nurtured, he'd been fed, he'd been cared for, he'd been loved by mankind, had probably never seen a human, and now he was able to release.
Well, tell everybody just who doesn't know what Reiki is, because
Thank
many
you.
people know what Reiki is, but I've really enjoyed benefiting from your work and the work of Reiki in the world. So just
Thank
to update for the record.
Sure. So short and sweet, Reiki is a Japanese compound word meaning universal life force energy, and basically this is an energy healing. Um, it's believed to have been on the planet since the beginning of time. There's evidence in the hieroglyphics of the pyramids that they were using Reiki there. Every ancient culture has had its way of accessing this energy that's around us all. This is just this particular way, and there are many different energy modalities, and essentially they raise your vibration on a physics level. It literally is like the sun hitting a sandcastle on the beach, and the sun being the healing energy, and it eventually kind of crumbles and falls apart. So that's a kind of a short and sweet.
Awesome. Well, you know, I did give you the prompt about fly, and I do think you did a great job in translating kind of from your perspective with energy work, the energy in the world and everyone's opportunity to plug into that and to increase their vibration, thus increasing their success in whatever category, their peace, their happiness, their joy, and sharing that with others. So Krista, if there's one thing you want the world to know, because you're here on Facebook Live with people all over the world, listening to the stories from the Stu Smart Talk Exceptional Women, you are page 174 and 175. What is that one thing that you want the world to know?
Well, I think when we're freed of what's holding us, we can fly.
Absolutely. That's a succinct, good word, succinct and great way to end. The crowd goes wild for Krista Igoe. You know, I knew no matter what we planned that these stories would be juicy and tasty and good, and that is what the stew is about. Smart Talk Exceptional Women, 60 women who volunteered their own insights to make a difference in the world. And we appreciate you joining us for this live broadcast today. So to end today, I want to do a shout out to our friend Cindy Tyler. She was not able to join us on the call today. Cindy Tyler's company, Vervante, is the publisher of The Stew. And this is how this worked. I was with a random person one day saying that I wanted to put my art into a card deck. And she was only sent to me for that interaction to tell me, have you heard of Vervante? It's a women-owned publishing company that helps people's dreams come true. And I never, ever saw that person again. Right? It's one of those angels that dropped into my life to deliver one purpose, to tell me about Vervante. So the great backstory is I call and I say, hey, I'm an artist. I have these angels I've been making. I like to make a card deck. And I've got a marketing idea. What if I put Vervante on the card deck? Can I negotiate a better deal in my printing? And the person on the other end of the phone says, yeah. And I said, well, don't you have to ask your boss about that, or, to get a better deal? And she said, I am the boss. This is Cindy Tyler. I'm the creator of Vervante. I love your enthusiasm. I'd love to partner with you. I'll give you a good deal on your card deck. Let's go. And that was now before 2 card decks, 3 journals, 5 sets of cards, holiday cards, and the creation of the stew. And this illustration is just to say to everyone listening that it's about the journey and the people you ask for help, right? Christy's got a curriculum, easy for me to say, curriculum coming out in 2021 when you might be listening to this podcast. It's because of everyone standing together that we help each other. We find the resources we need. And it's because of these amazing authors that we have the stew. So just to recount at the end of our telecast today, the stew is Smart Talk Exceptional Women. It is a 200-page art and insight book. The art is mostly by me. There's a couple pieces by others. We can all hold up our stew books. And the art was done in intention to create a really small book. But when I thought and prayed about it, I heard that book is about your girls. That book is all your girls. So everybody hold up your book. I'm going to snap a quick picture because we are multitasking. This is a so good picture. I got to wait for just a second as Christy gets her book. So this book was created to be a gift to people of the world. It is 62 stories of women who write uplifting insights and ideas, and it is available at campexperience.com/shop. That's campexperience.com/shop. And yes, it is Arts and Insights, the Stew Smart Talk Exceptional Women. And it is available at any time. It's available now. It goes to the Vervante bookstore, and you will be able to get your copy. We will have events in the future. Jill has a great idea about a book club event. Christy will help us join together and celebrate as a VIP event as soon as we can join together. And so many of the authors have such good work in the world. So check them all out on campexperience.com/the stew. And we appreciate all of the time and the energy for the authors coming together in this digital format. We appreciate the heartfelt sharing of your story. We appreciate your love and support for this crazy project. Again, we call out Megan Osgood, the organizer. We call out Carol Calkins and Carrie, her associate editor. We call out Melissa Labad, the amazing designer that made this happen. And we call out and say thank you to all of you who are supporting women coming together for art and insights for the world. This has been your hostess and stew mother, organizer, curator, Betsy Wiersma, and the authors from the stew. And we look forward to more times we can come together to share as we do good and have fun. Thank you so much for enjoying this call today, and have a wonderful, wonderful journey in your life, uplifted and inspired by others who are all here happy to help you.